Alright, so this is where we left off last time. I got the motor and tranny installed. Let me rephrase that. I got them in place. They are bolted in place and bolted down. They ain't going to fall anywhere, but they're not lined up or nothing fancy like that. I did put all the accessories on, water pump. And when I say all, I mean water pump, alternator, and power steering pump. The air conditioning compressor would not fit with the Dirty Dingo motor mounts. I don't know if you remember, I pulled that whole AC box out. There it is over there on the floor. Coils mounted, intake mounted. So that's where I left off last time. After that, I went and did a bunch of ordering of parts, hoping to get some parts in this week. I did. Wasn't nearly as many parts as I was thinking I was getting for as much money as I spent. We'll open that up and see what we're working on. Auto parts store, I just got a new fuel filter. This right here is a little quick disconnect tool, also from the auto parts store. That quick disconnect tool is used to remove these the stock fuel hoses. Used to remove the stock fuel lines from the manifold on the intake. I have already removed the top one. It's a 3/8, bottom's a 5/16. I ended up getting another quick disconnect tool from the auto parts store. Looks like a pair of metal scissors. So I'm sure if you know what I'm talking about, you've seen them before. I couldn't get it on the bottom here. That plus the fact that the one I bought, smallest it went to was 3/8. So I ended up returning that one and getting that other plastic set. Had a 5/16 on there. Alright, let's go ahead and start unboxing and see what kind of stuff I got. Doesn't look like I got near as much as what I spent money on. We'll see. Alright, so this is what we got. I got a bunch of fuel line fittings, specifically 6AN. I think I stepped everything up to 6AN, which is like 3/8. I don't know, I just learned this not long ago, but start talking about these AN fittings. 6AN, everything is relative to a 1/16 of an inch. So if you were to have a 8AN, that would be 8/16 or 1/2. 6AN is 6/16 or 3/8. And it just works, it's all the way down. 1 inch would be 16. AN size 16 would be 1 inch. 16/16, 1 inch. But anyway, that's what I got here. I got two new fittings to go to my fuel rail. These are replace the quick disconnects, which I think I already threw away. So these right here are the two disconnects that's going to go ahead and replace the one. I got the 3/8 right here, which I've already got removed. The 5/16 is still on there. It's 5/16 to 3/8. Both the supply and return are going to be 3/8 hose. And I've got 4 just straight connectors, 6AN to 6AN. I have a pair of fittings. These are for the 4L80 transmission. So these are the transmission cooling lines, the fittings that go onto the transmission. And I've got 2 other fittings, and these are straight fittings. 6AN to 5/16 and 3/8 tubing. So these should convert from straight tubing to AN hose fittings, which are these right here. Here's my 2 tubings that come from the gas tank. The larger line is 3/8, smaller 5/16. This is fuel supply, fuel return back to the tank. These are the lines that I needed those tubing fittings for. They're just little compression fittings, so I hope they work. So now the last thing I got is this is that heater box, AC delete heater box. I don't know what you call it, but this replaces that big canister that had my air conditioning coils in and all the air conditioning parts. This is a fiberglass. It's pretty thick, so I'm kind of impressed with how stout it is. It did advertise that it will fit the fan with the fan that came off of an air conditioned box. Evidently there's two different size squirrel cage fans. If your car came with or your system has air conditioning, that fan is one size. If your car did not come with air conditioning, that's a different size squirrel cage. This one says that you can use your existing fan motor and squirrel cage. We'll see. It does come with a cutout for resistors, and that's for your fan speed. Evidently it's got to be an airflow, and that's a little, oh, that's on the fan here. So yeah, that's what I'm looking at there. Here's a little hole for this little it's just a hose. I don't know, I guess a drain hose maybe, I don't know. And that other one for the resistors for fan speed, that's that right there. So I'll pull that off, mount it. Hopefully it'll fit. That looks like a different size. I'll make it fit. Please. Oh, here's another box. 6AN hose. This is an Amazon purchase. I don't know if, I didn't do any research, but this Evil Energy, I don't know if that's just an eBay store, or excuse me, an Amazon store, or if that's a real business, but I got a sticker, so we'll run with it. It's not the PTFE, it is the nylon braided. Never done any of this stuff before, so you'll probably see me cussing on the first couple installs as I mess up some pieces. Currently I'm planning on using this same hose. I got 20 foot of it. Got 20 foot of 6AN nylon braided hose. Plan is to use this for the quick jumpers from my fuel rail to those pieces of tubing on the frame rail. I think that's about 3 foot a piece. So that'll be a total of 6 foot. And then also plan on using it for transmission cooling lines from my transmission mounts. I measured up to where a cooler, or excuse me, the radiator would be. So I measured from the transmission up to this general area. Eventually I plan on, or I hope to, put a remote transcooler in. So, but until then, it'll go to a radiator whenever I get a radiator, which I'm hoping to put in a order this weekend again. Try to space these orders out. All right, I got one of the lines run. I got the 5/16 line. That's what the little tubing to AN looks like. I didn't tighten this one up. That's my 3/8. I haven't tightened it up yet. But I got the 5/16 on there. I've already made the connection on the hose end. Just show you what it looks like. It's just a regular old AN fitting. This is what it's a little swivel end on there. So anyways, this is the way I'm routing it. I'm gonna route it right here. This is where my that's the wiper motor. We'll see if I'm gonna be able to get that on there or not. I haven't tried since I put the motor in. So wiper motor goes here. Right now it's pulled, so I'm just running it, the fuel line, and this is the fuel return 5/16 line. Just got it running right here to same end as what's on the other side, just a regular old AN 6AN straight fitting. And this is what the quick disconnect fittings look like. I ain't got a real warm fuzzy about these. Haven't heard anything bad about them, but I mean, I can spin it. These right here, you can see all it is just it's a two-piece coupling, more or less. Slide them on. There's two O-rings up inside where it slips onto your fuel rail nipple. Two O-rings to seal it, and it just sandwiches that little barb that the quick connects latch onto. So all you're doing is just pinching that barb. I mean, you just saw me right here. I can still spin this, and there is no more thread left in this. I mean, that's tight. I mean, I don't have a warm fuzzy about it, but then again, I mean, the stock quick connects, I mean, they spun freely too, and they held pressure. So I don't know, maybe with pressure on there, it puts pressure where it needs it and holds it on there good and tight. That's a German word. Alright, so I made one end up on this, on the 3/8. I'll show you how I finish it off. All I do is I go ahead and route it just like I am. I plan on running it. I still need to tighten up this tubing fitting. I'll do it, then I'll go ahead and take the barb end of this AN line, put it on here. That way I get a good measurement of, eyeball it and find out where I want to cut this hose. You saw me mark it. I'll go ahead and cut it. There's a set of cable cutters that I see a lot of folks using. Make nice clean cuts. And when I say folks, I mean these YouTube stars that have a crap load of cars that they're building. I have one car. This is my first time building a AN fitting. This is what I'm going to use. It worked. I've already done it on the other three. It may not be the preferred way. Obviously it's not, but it's working. Let me rephrase it. It's worked so far. I start getting some fuel in it. It goes everywhere. I'll change my story. But another thing is, I would definitely hold your breath doing this. This is pretty raunchy stuff. Let's see if I can make it all the way through. I got a small blade here. Smells like burning rubber. It's I don't know if I got this in view or not, but it turned out all right. Here's the other end. The hardest part about this, or at least this part, is making a good square cut, which actually now this one, you see a little bit of a lip there. I'm actually going to go ahead and fix that real quick. Hold your breath. Alright, now that I got it on video, I probably will not be able to get that barb on. Alright, so here's the two pieces. My little collar right here. This is the piece that was screwed onto the tubing end. Take your collar. What you want to do is, there's some threads up in there, real coarse threads. Try to get this started in there decent. And as you push on the hose with the fitting, turn the fitting counterclockwise. You get about halfway into this fitting, you can tell, you can look in there and see the hose coming up inside. You don't have to push nearly as hard on the hose. It kind of grabs itself and pushes. Then you get to a point where you can feel it dead heads. It's actually the hose end is hitting the inside, so it's bottoming out. So what you see here, I don't know if you'll be able to see it or not, but what you see here is the threads from my barb end, and this right here is going to get pushed in, screwed in, and at the same time as it screws in, you can see how far it goes down. You see this conical taper? It's going to push this tip. It'll push this tip into the fitting and pinch itself. So I'm going to put this in here. Go ahead and take oil. This is just some PB Blast or some Pendragon oil. But take any type of oil. I got some Croy oil up there I probably should use. Anyways, take you some oil, lube up these aluminum threads. You don't want to gall them up. And also, the oil will help. There we go. The oil will help this conical piece slip into the hose. Now, one last thing before you just run her home. Hold this hose on the bottom, and as you push down and thread this top barb piece in, what you want to make sure is the hose isn't getting pushed all the way through. You want to make sure that this is going inside the hose and not pushing the hose out. They make AN wrenches. I'm not buying them. Once again, I don't foresee myself doing this a whole lot to justify those wrenches. To be honest, I haven't even priced them. They could be giving that stuff away for free, and I wouldn't know. The purpose of the AN wrenches, if you don't know, is they're aluminum, just like these fittings. They won't use the same hardness material, and you won't damage your fittings. Unlike, when I say damage, I'm talking scratches, that type. One thing about these AN fittings and this whole nylon braided hose setup, don't think I mentioned it before, but nice thing about this setup is if I come back and I'm like throw my wiper motor on there, and for whatever reason, let's say I needed to cut about another, I had to reroute these hoses, and let's say I put 90s up here, come straight out and straight over, and I put 90s or 45s, which I wish I'd kind of bought some 45s for here, but too late now. But anyways, let's say I had to rework these hoses. The way this system's set up, this nylon is a braided hose system, is you can still tear these fittings apart and cut an extra 2 inches off, 4, whatever, and remake this hose again. So it's not like a compression fitting, so as soon as you pinch it down on a hose, that's where it's going to be forever until you cut it off. This system right here, it pinches against the hose so that if you needed to, you can go ahead and shorten it back up. I mean, the compression on the tubing, yeah, you can cut the tubing shorter, but then you still need buy another compression fitting, a little brass, the little ferrule that goes on the tubing. Whereas this stuff right here, none of it is one-time use only. You can use it multiple times. So that's another plus to this. One last thing I got to say about this before I'm done is using that grinder put a lot of stuff probably inside these hoses. Same with me. I had to file the ends of this tubing and clean up the tubing ends before I put them fittings on. What I'm probably going to end up doing is busting this supply line loose and just pull it out and stick it in a 5-gallon bucket, and if I can force on the fuel pump, and just that way it purges my whole gas line. I think that's what I'm going to end up doing. I still a little ways to go before I do that. Obviously I don't have a single bit of wire in here, but that's one thing I need to try to remember to do, is flush these lines out before actually putting it to the motor. I'll leave all the connections hooked up just to keep everything clean, but I need to try to flush these hoses. That's it for now. Let's see what's next.